Hi, everybody.
Hey, Courtney.
Nice
I
to
was just asking everybody what they were doing for Administrative Professionals Day. What are you doing?
From what I hear, nothing happens here, but I will be speaking at Ignite Admin. I was picked to be one of like 35 speakers to give a little mini talk, little 5-minute sesh. So yeah, that's exciting.
So
Um,
where can we see that? Can we all watch that?
yes, and I will find a link and put it in the chat. Thanks, Molly.
I would really love that. Thanks.
Thanks. Um, hi everybody. We have a bunch of, or a few at least new faces here. Tess, hi, I'm so glad you joined. So anyway, I'm Courtney. I started this with a couple other admins from World 50. We're just a bunch of executive assistants that are super excited about AI and want to demo tools and share insights and things like that. So we meet every Wednesday. Super glad you're here. And if you want to take your put your cameras on, I'd love to see your faces, but no pressure. Today it's super excited to have ShareCal join us, and that is Haifa and Christina. They're gonna demo the tool. This turned into like a calendar quarter somehow, so I figure let's like go out with a bang and now you will have seen demos from all the key players, and we're really excited. I know if you've ever used EA Buddy, I keep that open all day. Just it makes it easier. That tab is always open if I need to mess with time zones or offer availability. I love the tool. It's free. Anyone can use it. Um, uh, so anyway, I'll hand it over. Thanks so much. And then at the end, we'll have like 15 minutes. We'll talk fun AI stuff. So thanks everyone.
Thank you, Courtney. It's so great to see so many faces here. So my name is Haifa, and I'm the founder of ShareCal. And here on the call, we also have Christina, if you want to intro yourself briefly.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Nice to see or meet all of you. Hi, my name is Christina, Head of Customer Success at ShareCal, and proud to be a former executive assistant. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah, so just to kind of give you a little intro into us and our background. So I've got a background in tech. I actually used to work at a large consulting firm that had over 1,000 EAs. And this came to be because a lot of the EAs there had some really cool ideas about things that they wanted to see added into Outlook to make scheduling more efficient for them. And so it started as a kind of like just a side project a few years ago. I worked with them to create some simple tools, and they really loved it, and it started to take off. And so EAs at that company started sharing it with other companies. And so since then, the tool kind of evolved to become what's now known as ShareCal. EA Buddy is kind of like the older version of the tool. You know, for the last couple of years, we've really focused on ShareCal. I'm personally really partial to the name EA Buddy, but we've just found that as we became a larger, more kind of mature organization, it didn't fly as well with IT. They kind of like to see a more kind of, boring enterprisey name. So that was kind of the birth of ShareCal. But yeah, so since then, so ShareCal is really focused. We work almost exclusively with EAs at very large organizations that use Outlook. So we got going with one of those kind of large, very well-known consulting firms, and since then has spread that way. And so we've got all of the required SOC 2 compliance, all of the things that your organization needs for you to be able to actually ultimately get access. We're continuing to, I feel like my job is the most fun job in the world because I get to work with EAs every day, hear their ideas, and kind of continue to add new features born out of like the ideas of you all. And so as we go through some of these features, would love for this to be like, interactive and collaborative. If you all have questions, please feel free to interrupt, or you have feedback or ideas or things that, for those who have been using Outlook for a while, things that you wish that Outlook could do, just call that out. Yay. All right. So I will just jump right into it. Maybe kind of quick show of hands here. How many people, or maybe if you could use the thumbs up sign, how many people are using Outlook? I'm just curious. Do we have mostly Outlook users here or a decent chunk of Google? Okay. So it seems like mostly Outlook. That's good. Unfortunately, if you use Google, we do focus specifically on Outlook. We will be adding in the Google at some point in the future. But there's so much stuff to do here with Outlook, and so that's where we're focusing for now. All right, so right now we're looking at the main view of the ShareCal platform. So I'm looking at my executive's calendar here, Craig. And on the left are all the different types of scheduling actions that I can take as an EA. So just starting at the top with kind of proposed times, this was like the first feature that we designed and just makes it really fast for EAs to be able to like offer out time windows for a meeting. So probably many of you all are like day in and day out, pulling up your email, pulling up your executive's calendar, and offering out potential time windows for a meeting, maybe across time zones. And so ShareCal just allows you to do that much more quickly. Curious, if you could type into the chat, what time zones are people across right now? Is this mainly US? Probably my guess would be a lot of Eastern. Okay, so Pacific, Eastern. Okay, got it. Central. So let's say, I'm scheduling some times for this group. I want to offer some times to you all based on my own executive's calendar. I can just click on proposed times, click and drag on whatever times I want to offer. And so you can see they're typed out here in my own time zone, Pacific time. But given that many of you are in different time zones, I probably want to add that time zone conversion for you. So let's just throw in Eastern, and we'll just do Eastern for now. So it basically types out all that converted text for you neatly. So you can just, copy those times and then paste them right into an email listing all of that out. So something that ordinarily might take me a couple minutes, you can do in just, a few seconds here in the ShareCal system. Now, I'll pause there for a sec just to see if there's any initial kind of thoughts or questions.
Yeah, sorry, I missed a step. How did you pull up the free times right away?
Yep, so just by clicking. So in this case,
okay.
I'm just, using the calendar, I'm just basically clicking and dragging on what times I want to offer. And as I do that, it types them out for me. Now, if I'm sending out these times for a meeting and I want to basically save these times to the calendar as one group, I can do that as well. So let's say, I want to reserve on Craig's calendar. I offered all these times up for the AI for EA meeting. I would just say, hold for meeting with, let's just say, okay, with Courtney. I could, mark the holds with, the color I like to use for holds, mark them all as tentative, and then just click save. And then it basically will just go in and create each of those holds individually on my Outlook calendar as one group. So I don't have to then go in and create them all one by one manually and apply those settings to the group.
Sorry, and this is synchronizing with like Craig's Outlook because he's not going to be in ShareCal. Okay.
Yep. So Craig doesn't ever have to, Craig doesn't even have to necessarily be aware that you're using ShareCal, right? They don't want to be using a new tool. It's something that you can just use on your end. Great question. Any other questions?
So I have a question. If I have in my Outlook like 3 or 4 time zones, will it capture all of those as well?
Yeah. So usually actually on my own ShareCal, I often will have, Pacific, Eastern, and UK time up because I'm often scheduling across those. And so basically, if I'm frequently scheduling with people in each of these time zones, I just want to make it really easy for me to toggle between the time zone of the person I'm scheduling with. So when you have them all up in your sidebar and you go to propose times and you're clicking and dragging, you can offer that times. And then you can use these buttons at the bottom to just reflect, which time zone you're scheduling with. So let's say I'm scheduling with some people in Eastern time. I would just remove the Pacific time and UK time and just have Eastern time up. And then copy and send. Now, let's say that next meeting is someone in UK time, I would just, do the UK time. So it's really easy to add or remove time zones or kind of schedule across a combination.
Leanne, did you have a question?
I think she may have just answered. I'm just wondering, for instance, you see a number of time zones there. How did you add, for instance, like mine is an Eastern Standard. However, if I'm on the work, sometimes it's London, sometimes it's Middle East, whatever, just how do you add those time zones in?
Yep. So you can add them yourself manually. Also, if you're at a large global organization, and so you're frequently scheduling with people internally across different time zones, you'll see that if I pull up another calendar that's somebody in another time zone, it pulls in their office location from Outlook and automatically pulls up their calendar. So, I'm here in Pacific time. Let's say I'm scheduling with Michelle, who's in New York. When I pull up Michelle's calendar to look at some times that might work, Eastern time just got pulled up automatically to the calendar, if that made sense. So it kind of, saves you all those steps too, if you are at a large organization, of looking up what's everyone's location and what time zone do I want to be sending in.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
All right, any other questions, or should we jump into one of the AI related features next?
Sorry, I do have one more question.
Amy has a question.
Is it pulling like details of like the meeting info? Like sometimes we'll have agendas or other things in the invite. Is it also pulling that into ShareCal? Like, can you click on them and see those details?
Yes.
Oh.
So if you're just kind of looking at the normal calendar invite, it's basically, a full calendar that has all of the, information related to each event there too. Yep. Daylight savings. Yes. So basically the tool pulls in from a global time zone database, which reflects basically when each country and not just even country, like states and locale changes for daylight savings time. So no matter, what time and what date of the year you're sending out those times, those time zone conversions are always correct.
Jamie had a question as well.
Thanks. So I see there's two different calendars pulled up, one for Craig, one for Michelle. So if there were like three executives that you supported and they all had to be in the same meeting, which calendar, does it matter which calendar you use to find open times? And then once you do this hold, will it how do you get it to automatically populate against all three calendars?
Yeah. Great question. Okay, yeah. So far I had just been kind of showing one calendar up for the most part, but yeah, let's walk through the example where instead I'm scheduling across, like, let's pull up these three calendars. If you are just pulling up three calendars and still offering those times via email, you can still use that proposed times function to type them out. But one of the cool AI features that you can use, especially if these are busy calendars, let me actually, for simplicity, just pull up a couple. There's this auto find times feature too, where I could say like, okay, let's say, for example, I want to schedule between Michelle and Craig, and I want the meeting to happen next week. I can just type in next week in natural language, and then click on suggest meeting times. And it'll update the calendars to show me, all right, it updated it to show me next week, April 7th to the 11th, and highlight all the times that might work for that meeting. So it highlights them for you and also types them out. And then you could then, click on the one that you want to directly schedule. Or if this is somebody who you have to check with their EA first, it just types out those options for you to be able to copy and paste into an email like we've seen, or even some people I've seen use kind of tables, automatically create tables to collect availability like that.
And what if you can't find a common time?
Yeah. So, oftentimes, right, you're dealing with executive calendars that are super busy. Maybe even like you block out all the whole time anyway because you don't want people to kind of drop time in empty spaces. So, if that's the case, one thing that you can do is you can go into basically mark certain like categories as stuff that's like flexible or can be moved. And then when you're searching for time across busy calendars, you can have it, if it can't find times when everyone is free, kind of first suggest times when the blocks are things that like are already, known to be flexible. So for example, let me actually pull up, if I pull up these three calendars, I'm going to clear all this. There actually isn't a time when everyone is free this week across all of these calendars. But if I still ask it to suggest times, it still pulls for me a suggestion. And I'm going to click onto the suggestion just so you can see what happened. So it suggested this time because it's like, okay, everyone's not free, but the one conflict that exists is like a work block, something I've already marked as something that can be movable on, or scheduled over on my executive's calendar. Yeah.
Where do you mark that? So how would I designate work block as a movable
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah, so like out of the box, there's already some kind of like rules that are set up like that. Like it tends to, across organizations, work block tends to be usable or movable, but you can customize it yourself by setting up these like flex rules. So I've seen some EAs will basically set up rules that's like, for example, my executive's event category is urgent, then it's not flexible. I actually have an event category called flex, then it's flexible, that sort of thing. So you can get really granular with, all of the ins and outs of your own executive's calendar. You can get really granular with setting up all that context. Yeah.
We've got another hand raised. Denise?
Yes, so I have a question regarding while you're sorting times, whether you're scheduling, just holding slots directly on the calendar or whether you're collaborating with other people,
Mhm.
how long can you hold that for? And can you remove the multiple blocks or holds that you have? So say if you schedule something, an annual calendar, is there a simple way to see what dates you have on hold and to move them, say, a month from now?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, great question. So anytime so basically like ShareCal makes it really easy for you to manage holds. So you can create them all as one group. You can remove them all as one group. You can kind of go back to that list of holds and make whatever modifications you want. So whenever you create new holds, it gets added to what's this meeting tracker. So this is kind of designed to help you basically keep track of like all those outstanding holds you have on the calendar.
So you can have multiple meeting trackers at the same time?
Or multiple
So,
sets of holds, yeah, that are all kind
yep.
of shown within this meeting tracker.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
So right now, if I go to the meeting tracker, you can see it's basically a table of all these things we have outstanding. Here at the top, hold for meeting with Courtney. That's that one we just created, recently during this call. And so, here is where I can make some changes in this admin view. Or like, let's say that meeting with Courtney was already scheduled. Rather than having to go back into the Outlook calendar and like delete each of them one by one, you can just click on this delete holds button and click delete. And so that's just going to remove each of them from the Outlook calendar. So you don't have to go do all of that as a separate step. So it's a nice way to just help. I mean, this was really the idea for this came from an EA who basically said, like, I've got all these holds outstanding on the calendar and I'm working so quickly. Often when that meeting is scheduled, it can be really easy to like miss a hold or like leave like a, stranded hold somewhere. And then my executive will be like, what's this for? And it's like, sorry, that meeting was already scheduled. So just kind of helps you keep track of all that in one group.
Ava, I don't know what you can see on your end, but you had a few hand claps for the holds. So that was
Glad to hear it.
this syncing in real time? So if I'm also doing something simultaneously in Outlook, is it picking it up, or does it sort of sync at a particular time?
Yep, it like refreshes basically every 15 seconds. Yeah, so it stays live and up to date and in sync with everything that's happening in Outlook.
And then the data that's imported into this, where does it reside? Is it on a server that ShareCal owns? Like a lot of our meetings are obviously have, a lot of confidential pieces to it. So like the data that's actually that we're seeing here that's copied into ShareCal, who has access to it? Where is it visible? How long do you guys retain it, if it's retained?
Yeah. So, because we were built from the ground up, like working with a very large consulting firm that had very strict security requirements. And so we've built kind of ShareCal from the ground up with that in mind. And so we use Microsoft Azure for all processing and storage of the data. So it resides on a server in Azure. If it's, and we've got, a full kind of package of like all the kind of security IT information too that, if you're interested in sharing it with your organization, we can provide that information for you. I'll say, we've worked with, right now, currently we're working with some of the largest like consulting firms, law firms, investment banks. And so far we have not run into a situation yet where an IT department is not comfortable with our security. It just tends to be more of a process of helping IT to understand kind of the value of investing in tools for executive assistants. Yeah.
Sorry. I had two quick questions. One, if I was in a situation where I was scheduling a meeting for 4 people and I only have access to 3 of their calendars, how would you, manage? Can the app read? If I don't have access to the 4th calendar, they're not going to be able to see it, right?
Yep, same exact thing. So it basically grabs the same permissions from Outlook. So actually in that first example, I think I had shared, so I'm looking at Craig's calendar. Michelle's an example of a calendar. It's another person in the organization. I don't actually have access to her calendar. So when I pull it up, I basically just see free busy, similar to like an Outlook scheduling assistant. And that's all I can see. So it's got those same exact permissions as Outlook.
And no one needs to do anything on their end for us to be able to do this on our end.
Right. It just pulls in, everything for you.
And I might be skipping ahead, but once we decide on a time, are you going to get to that, like what we do? How do we finalize the meeting?
Yeah. So if you had found that time when you were searching for like in auto find times, you can basically just click on that slot and add, type in the name of the meeting, whether it's, Teams or Zoom, and then click create, and that schedules the meeting directly from there. Yeah. I'll kind of show you what it looks like.
So I'm sorry, is this like an overlay? So are you, because I know Courtney mentioned earlier how she always has it pulled up. Are you working in this constantly, or do you use it to find the time and then go direct to Outlook and
Yeah, that's a great question.
confirm there?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a separate window. I've seen kind of different EAs have different preferences. People will usually start by using both Outlook and ShareCal. It's like you use ShareCal for the things that you can do really quickly in ShareCal and continue to use Outlook for some of your scheduling. And then typically over time, I've seen EAs just start to do more and more out of ShareCal, just out of convenience. But either or, the two work together. It's not like you have to completely, throw away Outlook to use ShareCal.
And what about our virtual meeting integrations? So Teams or Zooms or whatever it is. Can you actually schedule a Teams from here? Can you actually,
Yep.
can you do that from ShareCal?
Yep. So that's just kind of a toggle that you can use. We've got 2 options. Yeah, Teams and Zoom as options for scheduling. All right, so getting into some of the AI features. So when we first kind of had originally created this proposed times feature, a lot of EAs had said, well, this is really nice, but what about when someone is sending me a bunch of times? Like sometimes I'll receive, a whole list of times, maybe it's in another time zone, and I have to compare that against my own executive's calendar, and it can be a bit of a pain. So that's a cool way, or that's a example of something that we can use AI for, because we can have AI process all of that text, pull out the different time zones, and then update your calendar to basically show you, these are the times that were offered as an overlay. All right, so just kind of to walk you through an example, let's say, someone sent me an email asking if my executive Craig can match any of these times, and they sent it to me in UK time. So it's like, normally I'd have to be like, okay, what's the math? -8, convert each of them, and then pull them all up. But what I can do instead here is just copy those times. I'm going to have Craig's calendars up, then go over to this Smart Times feature and just paste that right in and click Visualize. And what it'll do, it'll take that UK text and update my calendar to show me all of those dates and then those times highlighted. So it's a really nice way for me to instantly see, okay, these were the times that were offered, and now it's really obvious to me, what my executive can match. And then I can go in and just see, okay, well, this time works. And so I can go in and, directly schedule. Or if you combine it with the proposed times, let's say like I'm supposed to just respond and say this time works, I can then just click on proposed times, drag the time I want to say works, hit copy. It's already typed out for me in both, Pacific time and UK time to match their time zone. Then I can just, whoops, wrong email, responding back and be like, yes, this works. Woo, hopefully with better typing on your end. But that's the idea, right? So really easy for me to see those times and then respond.
Rafa, I'm sorry, it's Leanne. I was doing something with my notes here, whatever, and I kind of missed a step. Smart times, is that a toggle switch, or is that smart times? You'd mentioned, just call up the smart times.
Yes, so it's a view in this upper right-hand corner. This little sparkle feature is smart times.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, great. All right. Terrific.
Yep. So yeah, this is where you can just type in text, paste in text in any time zone, and then just click Visualize, and it updates your calendar to show you all those times that were offered to you.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
All good. Okay, I saw some claps or thumbs up. Sounds like that's something that resonates, that you all would find helpful in your day-to-day?
Yep.
I see a comment from Alyssa. We're actually, I know we had spoken, I think, in person at one of those EA Social Club events. And actually, I think the company you used to work for is now like rolling it out across all their EAs. And we see that comment all the time. It's like, if you're so used to, day in and day out, always like receiving times and having to do all that time zone conversion, it's just so nice to be able to use AI to visualize it rather than taking the time to do it yourself.
Yes, I have definitely talked to them already and they're loving it. It's a game changer.
Yay. Glad to hear. Any other questions on that one?
I'm so sorry I had to jump off. Did you go over pricing yet?
We did not. We've just been kind of talking about some of the features
And
here.
then the Plex rules, excited to see that. I remember that was amazing.
Yeah. We just shared this Smart Times feature where you can like visualize times that somebody has sent you on top of your own executive's calendar.
Awesome.
Excited about it. Yeah. Maybe one last feature that I'll just kind of walk through briefly. This is this kind of a sneak peek. This is something we're currently working on. And right now we just have a really small group of like 10 EAs testing it, providing feedback. And once it's ready, we're going to launch it to all of our EA users. But the idea is that it's kind of just like a more interactive way to engage with the calendar. So you can do things like ask it questions like, looking at Craig's calendar, like how many performance review meetings were already scheduled this year. And it can like process that text. It takes a little bit of time, but can then go through, kind of read your calendar for the last year and provide you with those results. So where I've seen EAs say like this is going to be super helpful is, I know Outlook's calendar search function tends to be pretty poor. And so it can be really hard to be like, where is that event that I'm looking for in the past, or like, upcoming in the future. And so this allows you to, without even knowing kind of all the details of an event, be able to kind of just use natural language to find that record. And this is another area where, we're currently working on investing in as far as we think about moving forward with like, calendar audits and, how is the executive spending their time. It's like a more interactive way to be able to like ask those types of questions. So,
someone's asking, does it allow you to see all recurring meetings from your executive's calendar? Like reporting features, like what reporting features?
Yeah. So that's one of those kind of use cases we're working on building towards. It's like, being able to ask kind of any type of question. Yeah. What are all the recurring meetings? What's the frequency of the meeting? That sort of thing. Like even things like when was Craig's last meeting with Elizabeth, just kind of to help you like, kind of be mindful of, or like on top of like, some of the things that are happening on the calendar. I see some questions.
Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, I also see some questions around, new Outlook versus old. It works with both basically. So it just, syncs with, Outlook for web. And so therefore can be used for both like kind of web and desktop. All right. Jamie, did you have a question as well?
Oh, I did. I feel like it just left my head. Wait 1 second. Oh, you may have answered this already and I didn't hear it, but I'm assuming the calendar view, as far as security goes, that goes into the cloud somewhere. Like, so who can see, because, our calendars are very private, and can sometimes even be market moving if people could see into it. So what are the security measures around that?
Yep. So there isn't any like individual that's able to view or access any of those calendars. Obviously integrating with ShareCal means like, the ShareCal, the Microsoft Azure or ShareCal's Microsoft Azure servers, like the data is stored on. And so it's just kind of a question of a conversation with your IT department about like, we'll walk them through, here's all of our security measures, here are all of our certifications.
Is it encrypted, or are there any like standard?
Yep. So we've got, if I share, I can just flash this up for a moment. So we've got a security page that kind of, details most of our practices, and then a security white paper that you can take to your IT department that summarizes, ShareCal's security program and protocols and how the data is stored, all of those kind of basic questions that your IT department will likely ask of you. So that can be found. I'll just paste, actually.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
So yeah, can also be accessed if you go to that main ShareCal page. The security is a sub page there. Great questions. Any other questions related to these features? I know we didn't have a chance to go through everything, but so we had a chance to kind of cover how you can use it to, save you time when communicating times. When someone's sending you times, to process that information and visualize it on the calendar to help you with kind of drafting a response. I actually am not sure we walked fully through the drafts, but basically you can set up different like drafts and templates of emails of things that you're frequently sending for scheduling to help you save time there. Walking through kind of the details of the AI calendar chat as well. Anything else that would be helpful to talk through?
I'm sorry, did you answer the question about the how well it works with the new Outlook? I had to step up for quick seconds. I don't know.
Yeah, so it integrates with both old and new.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh,
And just-
and did you say when we do finalize a meeting time and we put on the calendar, do the holds, we have to go back and delete the holds, right? The other holds don't automatically delete? Is that what you're saying?
So that's also an option. So I had, let me actually just walk through that then too briefly. So let's say you're actually, you're holding times for a meeting and you'd rather just kind of say hold for meeting with Jackie. And I've saved all those holds to the calendar as one group. So you can either, let's say that if that invite comes in from you as the organizer, then I would just delete all the holds as one group on my end. But if instead, you confirm the time and say, yeah, that Tuesday works. In that case, what I would do is actually just click on that Tuesday one and convert that to the actual meeting. Let's say this is a Teams, click create. And then what would happen is it creates that event and then deletes all the others automatically as well. So a couple different ways you can do it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. Sorry, Heather. Calendar audit and calendar digest.
Yes.
Quickly kind of tell us about that, or?
Yeah, so both of these features are kind of designed for time tracking. So if you're already color coding your calendars in Outlook and kind of want to pull a report of how much time is being spent across each of those categories, that's where the audit comes in handy. The digest allows you to basically like export all of your executives' calendar information and whatever information you want to be looking at. So one way I've seen EAs use this is if you want to kind of look ahead for the next 3 months and see if there are any events that my executive is organizing or attending that has a really high rate of declines, just as a flag to, okay, I probably want to cancel or reschedule this meeting to make it worth my executive's time. And so what you can do is just pull a report with all the different information. Let's say you want to be looking at, I don't know, date, time, event name, and attendance reports for all of these events. You can basically just click download and it will create an Excel for you with all that information. So that's the really quick version of what the audit and digest do.
No, that's great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions? It's beautiful. It's clean. I love it. Like I said, that time zone and the availability, that's just a lifesaver. Like I know when I was at Blackstone, I'm having to send options and match with people in like 4 different time zones, and this was just a lifesaver. So love that aspect of it. And it's just clean and user friendly. Like you look at it and you know where to go and what to click, and it's always nice. So I don't know. Thank you so much for your time, both of you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Love
It was lovely connecting with you all. And yeah, I guess maybe Courtney, I can just send you our info. That way, if folks are interested, they can just connect with us directly.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are always willing to do like a one-on-one to like demo it further, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, thanks. Let's see. Moving on. I've been working like on the agenda. And so that's a working doc that I will put a link to in the chat before we are finished. But I wanted to talk about unless anyone had any calendar related questions, may as well kick those out if you had those before I move on. No. Okay. So there's
Hi, Courtney.
hi, is
Jacqueline
that
here.
Jacqueline?
Yes, yes.
Hi.
I just want to know, how do you extract the a calendar Excel report from Microsoft Office? Microsoft Outlook, the Outlook calendar. If I want to audit my boss's calendar, how do I extract that?
Sure. So that is possible.
Nobody is doing that.
It's possible to do with a VBA script. I would love nothing more than to connect with you and share the script that I've created that will pull recurring meeting data. It's really useful. We definitely don't have time to do that today, but if I'm happy to connect
Sure.
with you, and I always love sharing it. So please reach
Sure,
out
sure.
and then we'll schedule a one-on-one call. I'm happy to do that.
Sure. Okay, thank you so much.
Kinds of recurring meeting data into an Excel table right from Outlook. So it's really handy. Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Great, thank you.
Yeah. No? Okay. So let's see. There's this new tool or this new LLM. It's called Curiouser. I'll put it in the chat. It's paid, right? It's paid. So but if anyone's interested, Curiouser.ai. So it's a paid LLM. It's going to be like $25 a month, but you would use it if you had like, it's definitely different from all of the other LLMs, and it may be not for you. In fact, like I think as executive assistants, I don't know if we'd get a whole lot of value in it. What I saw, and I'll just share my screen and we can go through this together. I didn't get my regular office today, so I'm working on one monitor. And you guys know what happens when I'm left with one monitor. So give me 1 second. And I'll just do this. Okay. So this is different because instead of just like, with ChatGPT, with Gemini, you ask a question and you want an answer. And ideally you want a quick answer and like a solution right away, right? When my washing machine was broken, there was an error code. Like I want a quick, how do I fix this? Or when we're looking for solutions at work, you want a quick answer. So that's not what Curiouser is. They call her Alice. And Alice's purpose is to ask you, let me just finish this prompt. So the purpose is to ask you questions. And I'm not going to explain this great, but yeah. Okay. So this is more, I found it useful because I'm starting EAwiz, right? The website. So, I've got a developer designing it right now, and I'm still like on the fence as far as like how to do the prompt database. I keep telling you guys that I have this amazing prompt library. Well, I don't know if I want to have it as like a web app or because you guys are always asking like, well, how would this be on ChatGPT? How would this be on Claude? How would Gemini answer this? So like I was just toying in my head with the idea of like incorporating all of those LLMs, but then it's going to turn into like a paid product where you would have to like purchase like tokens. And I don't know if I want to get into all that, but that's the reason why I was using this. And so it prompts you through like a series of questions. So let's say, okay, EAwiz. Okay, let me just show you what I've already done since we're limited on time. Let's say Curiouser EAwiz. Okay. I want to feature you in my next. Okay. So how can it help EAs? Explain how I can be a valuable partner in optimizing daily tasks. I want to do a live demo. So let's see. Okay, showcase the live interaction where I assist with a common EA task, such as scheduling. No one uses AI for scheduling. Okay. Help me create a presentation on AI to enhance productivity. I know that didn't make sense, but instead of like saying, okay, let me give you an outline, it's gonna come back with, why is it taking so long? Okay. Structured presentation. So I'm going to put a pause on this and I'm going to be better prepared for next week. I'm going to stop sharing because I'm not prepared at all. I'm just winging it and I don't want to waste your guys' time. And he's on. So, okay, I'm also going to put a link to the document, and here, let me just share. So I'm looking at like what format do I want to use to have this agenda, or to have you guys be able to like refer back to previous sessions until the website's live. So I'm just going to make it simple like this. So topics, I'll turn these into links. And then underneath, it's supposed to have, oh, and like last week, these were all the different links that we went over. Again, I'll turn these into links. But I'm going to have like a section for like suggested topics, and that's where you guys can like fill in, things that you are interested in that you want me to like, test out or demo like in a future show, or if you have any insight into things that we discussed. I'll have like a different sections there. So that's the best I can do until the website's live. And when there's an available video, I will link it there as well. So we're down to like 10 minutes. Do you guys want to talk tools? Do you guys want to talk, like, what does anyone use this week that was amazing?
Hey, Courtney. Actually, Jody has a question in the chat.
Thanks. Jody, what's up?
I don't know if she's still on. She was asking what the difference.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's pretend I didn't mention Curiouser, because it's certainly not going to be something that's comparable to the big players. Like you have to have it's very useful for like distinct or specific purposes, which like are more like business oriented. So I don't even know if it's something I didn't dig in at the time. It was very useful for like starting a business, but I don't know that it has that same value for executive assistants, and I should have demoed that before I came in and mentioned it. So has anyone used Reclaim? I bet you Molly has.
No,
Molly on the
but
spot.
no. Reclaim's on my list. I haven't needed it yet. But I am demoing right now Shortwave. It was recommended to me actually by Susie that it's an alternative to with that human whatever. Anyway, it's in my email and it's drafting, it's summarizing, it's doing all of the things, and it's really, really good so far. The only downside I have of it is that it's got a little, the way I use my Google Calendar, it's not completely there. So I'm still using my Google Calendar, but I've been intentionally living out of Shortwave now for, I guess, 8 days now. And I've saved easily 2 hours a week emailing and triaging.
Really?
Yes.
Did you ever use that cleanup tool, or is this what you're?
Oh, that was an epic fail. I hate that thing.
Why? Tell me. What was it? First of all, what was the tool? Let's plug that it was a fail.
It was, what is it? Clean email.
Or was it user error? Was it? Or you did it right?
User error.
I don't know, because there was a bunch of us and it was really slow. It was cumbersome. It didn't seem to produce what any of us really wanted. I mean, I don't want to speak for Annie or for Susie. Those were two of the main people on the call. And I sense like I'm annoyed by them, and it's just I would
It didn't clean up. I mean,
No.
simple. It just
No.
didn't clean up efficiently. It didn't
No.
clean everything up. It left some stuff behind.
Yeah,
refined
it was still kind of clunky for sure. I was not a fan of it.
Well, I'm sorry it didn't work.
Shortwave kind of does it. Yeah, shortwave kind of does it for you in a way.
Shortwave. I'll link to that in the doc.
Yeah, I'd love to know
I
if
don't
anybody
have
else
one.
is using it and what their experience with it is. And because I'm not using it in a work environment, I'd be curious how it works and functions with any sort of, compliance or IT stuff. But I'm loving it so far. I'm telling you, this is like getting a lot of time back, and it's really good at learning your tone really fast.
You know what I'd like to ask? Like, we have people come on and demo their products. Like, has anyone that's in here right now had any luck going to their organization whose security policies did not allow any kind of integrations? Has anyone had any luck going and making your case and giving them this security? Like, you know what I'm saying? Has anyone successfully made a case and changed the mind of changed the policy to allow this software to integrate? Or even had the luck of or been able to set up like a meeting with. Do you know what I'm saying? Nobody? Annie, I know you do a lot of I know they're
I'm
willing.
in the process. I'm in the process of, I was in the process of doing some demos with a few different companies. I've put a pin in it for just a short time because I've already been told, well, who's sponsoring this? And, where are you getting the funds for this? And so I had to tell them it was exploratory to, calm them down. And perhaps by the end of the year, we'll have excess money that we're looking to find use for, so maybe we'll be able to do it then, but we'll see. We have to see. Right now, we're just kind of in a cost savings mode. So me coming to them and saying, hi, I would like some money is probably not the right thing to be doing. I
Gotcha.
don't want to draw that kind of attention.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, I think we should spend the last 9-ish minutes. Let's look at the EAwiz.com tool. And if you haven't been joining lately, it's just a custom GPT that I created. I'll share my screen. If you go to EAwiz.com, you will see this. I know there's going to be a good amount of you that aren't able to, because number one, you need to be logged into ChatGPT. And I know sometimes I can pull it up at work, no problem, but I'm sure if I was at Blackstone, it wouldn't let me access it. So if you're not able to access it, a workaround is to disable Wi-Fi and access it from your cell phone. But all it is, it's a custom GPT with tons and tons of instructions on the back end. So it's still ChatGPT. You can still access, your history. You can, it's ChatGPT. It's just, like I said, a ton of instructions on the back end. So I'll give you an example. If you hit hashtag, like it says in the middle here, if you hit hashtag tools, wait, if I click on that, will that just do it for me? No. Okay, sorry. So I'm going to type hashtag tools to see a list of everything. Now you can just treat this like ChatGPT and it will still perform different than ChatGPT because I've instructed it to instead of just giving you a result, ask you questions to guide you through the process. So anything that you see with a hashtag here, that's I have it categorized or organized by category. So each of these hashtags is its own tool that you can use. So if you type hashtag tools at any time, you'll see this list. And it's just keep the different tools in your head. And when something comes up and you need it, let's just do a test. Let's say negotiations. So now it's instructed, it's going to prompt you for information step by step. So for example, let's say not negotiations. Let's say you want to do data visualization or something. Let's say you're doing a calendar audit. That's what we were talking about. So you can say a typical question might be, how can I do a calendar audit when I'm not able to use any kind of third-party integrations? So then it would just give you very generic information and it would answer your question. And it might say, like, would you like me to, but like this, it's gonna put ideas in your head that you may not have thought of. So, and it's not going to overwhelm you with a list of questions where you're having to like scroll up and like, oh, well, what else do I have to answer in order to get the information that I want? It's going to ask you one question at a time, and it's going to wait to respond until it's going to wait to move on until you've answered that. So the first step, and any of these tools, it's all going to it's going to respond the same way. So whatever tool it is that you're using, I have like 400 pages of instructions on the back end on like how to respond to each one. So I think it's really useful. And I wish I had like 5 more minutes to go over it, but let's just get started. Okay. What are you negotiating? Let's say new job offer. One, salary, 150 base, 7% annual. So I just love that it's walking you through it step by step. You don't need to necessarily like know what to ask for. And you may not even have thought of a sign-on bonus. Maybe you hadn't even thought of like asking for a professional development, annual whatever budget. What's the word? Anyway. So it's gonna like put things in your head that maybe you hadn't thought of. So let's say I want 170 base, higher sign, or no, 170 base and a sign on. And then I don't know. So maybe this won't do the market salary for you. I'll ask that in a second. But if not, I'll just say, where can I find market salary data? And it should give you resources like Robert Half, whatever. So let's see. Let's just test it. But so it's always going to ask you whatever tool you're using. It's always going to ask you to upload documents. So like if you're doing the career tool, it's going to say, okay, first thing, upload your resume. And then it'll say, give me, paste the job description. Don't ever like link to a job description, especially if it's like in LinkedIn. Go straight to the company website and get that URL or just copy and paste the entire job description. Paste that there and it'll say, it'll walk you through every step. It'll do a cover letter it'll ask you, do you have any updates to your resume? It'll say, what was your greatest accomplishment this year? It's going to keep all this in memory, right? So you're not going to have to upload your resume every time, just like ChatGPT keeps all your stuff. It is ChatGPT. Does anyone like someone jump in and is this valuable to anyone? Like to be prompted like every step of the way? Like, because I put a lot of work into this and like I have a lot more ideas of things I can do, but like I'm just curious to see if anyone that was here when I announced this, like if it's something that you use or if I'm just like putting energy into something because I'll be honest, if someone told me that they made a custom chat GPT, like I'm not going to use it, just not like no matter what it does. So if that's like the case, then maybe I'll stop putting so much energy into like making this. But has anyone used it for anything since I mentioned it that was on that day?
Hey, Courtney, it's Junior.
Junior, thank you. Yeah, so
You're welcome. You're welcome.
yeah,
I'm not gonna be on video. I'm a little bit under the weather,
Grace?
but I was able to use it again. And I can share that prompt too, if you'd like. I can share the prompt in the chat.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a quick little breakdown of what I used it for. It's something pretty simple, but something very, very time consuming. And it, of course, has something to do with hotel searches and venues and so on and so forth, right? So I just did a venue search for a client, and we did a standardized RFP. The proposals came back. We have everything in Excel. The only thing that we were missing, because we were looking at several different destinations on the East Coast, we were missing the time from each venue to the nearest airport, but also additional airports within like 2 hours, right? Some airports will have, some venues will have like 3 different airports that you can fly into. So we wanted a quick way, and it was several venues. It was about 8 or 9 venues. So we wanted a quick way to get all of that information without having to spend, all that time researching. So I pulled up EAwiz, of course, and actually started working on it. And then I thought about EAwiz. I was like, wait a second, let me not go the wrong way. And first I asked it to create a prompt for I told it what I was trying to do. And then I asked it to create a prompt. Of course, it did it in like 1 second. So it gave me the prompt. I ran the prompt, and I told it to put it into a Excel sheet. And within like 1 minute, all the work was done. And all I had to do was just review the links, because it also gave me links to Google. And so not only did I get the time of travel from each airport, right, to each venue, but I also got the distance in miles, and I also got a link directly to Google, and it put all of that into an Excel spreadsheet. So what would have taken maybe 3 hours, took 5 minutes, and then maybe like an extra 10 minutes to double check that the links were accurate. So I really like the tool.
Cool. Yay. I'm glad you're getting use out of it. That's awesome. Someone mentioned that their company is blocking EAwiz from work as pornography. So I said the only porn are the beautiful dashboards that it will create for you in data visualization. So, and that's my porn right there. So yeah, otherwise it's safe. But thanks for telling me that. I don't there's nothing I can do about that right now. Maybe I'll share that with the developers, but they're gonna make it look different than ChatGPT, even though it is ChatGPT. Like I'm paying these guys I just want it to like look pretty, and I don't want it to look like I'm trying to say this is my own creation, but it's ChatGPT. Like because I did work hard on it. There's a lot of custom shit in it and stuff in it, and but I don't like that it's like when you click on it, it's like, oh, this is ChatGPT, but it is anyway. We always go over, so if you have to jump off, bye. Thanks for joining. And yeah, thanks again, Christina and Haifa. Thanks for coming. It's so useful. Let me put one more time if you're jumping off the link to the agenda if you want to bookmark it. The format is completely not done right now, but it will be today. So if none of the links work, that's why. So hold on.
And Courtney, just to follow up from last week, everybody had asked me to give a list of my favorite newsletters.
Yes.
So I dropped a link to that in the chat. And then I also remembered that I never dropped a link to the ROI of training. If you guys want to figure out how to do AI ROI proof, etc., I put the deck and the Excel spreadsheet from Julie Prime when she did her demo of that in January. It's really good and it's really comprehensive. And if the formulas are all in there, it's beautiful. So that's what all that nonsense is in there.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Also, referring to last week, I know everyone was on the edge of their seat waiting for my demo on my smart glasses. Unfortunately, I won't be able to give that because I lost them already, $600, and I had them for 10 days. So that's good times. Yeah, I left it at the International Orchid Festival, which is the bad news, but the good news is it was worth it. Before you hang up, don't leave until I show you this real quick.
Is there a chip though that can locate it? Like
if
like
there
an Apple
is, I didn't.
AirTag?
No, I hadn't done that. So no demo of the look what I got. Tell me that's not. Look at that plant.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Okay. And I'm gonna tell people I grew it and I'm gonna have a big lie. It's gonna be great. So, but yeah, I don't have the glasses. Anyway, I put the link to AI for admins. That's the agenda. Please try this EAwiz and send me any feedback on it, on any of the tools. Like you can use it like ChatGPT, but if you could try the tools out, I would love it. And if Jacqueline is still on, again, I'm happy to connect to show you that BBA script that I wrote. It's really useful for calendars. Always happy to connect on that. And thanks, guys. Good to see you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Courtney.
Thank
Courtney.
you
Thanks,
also very much.
everyone.
Thanks,
Good
everyone.
being here.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And if it was your first time here, so glad you joined. Thank you.
Yeah, Courtney,
Thanks,
thank you so
Courtney.
much. It is my first. So yeah, I appreciate that very much.
Oh, did I find you on Facebook?
No, actually Denise Pace and I are
Oh.
uh, networking from like different group, and she and I kind of connected in PSG Mercer County on Friday. The short story is she says, "Oh, have you heard of blah blah blah?" And, yeah. So the next thing I know, she's now introducing me to you and like that. Yeah. So I really appreciate Denise. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, no, this was great. Really, I appreciate the camaraderie and the collaboration, and absolutely, yeah. And
Awesome. Well, I
we
hope
look
you come back next
forward to
week. And thanks, guys. It's good seeing you.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
Hey,
bye.
Courtney, one last thing. I
Yeah.
just put the prompt there in the chat.
Oh, let me take
If
a look.
anyone uses the prompt and for some reason it doesn't give you everything all at once, it might just be hallucinating. So you just have to remind it to give you the rest of the information. That happened to
I
me,
like
and
this.
it picked it up.
Junior, I'm going to be adding this to the prompt library if that's cool. I'll give you credit.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
oh, okay, guys.
Absolutely.
I know there's only a few of you on here, and I mentioned this before, but so EAwiz, the website, it's being developed. I know I've been saying that for 2 months, but it's getting expensive, so I'm having to do it in whatever they call it, milestones. So one of the features, and I mentioned this before, but you know how you've built something really cool, you made a really cool template, and you're like, wow, people would really, this is useful, this is beautiful, I love this, I'm so smart, right? We've all built, like, made something really cool. So what if you could list that, like, it's going to be like the first of its kind, like EA marketplace, right? So if you have something that you want to take like your company logo out, obviously, but then you could like you'll have your own store if you sign up like to be a seller or whatever, and then you list your items, right? Like whatever, you set the price, like in the case of my calendar audit script, something along those lines. Obviously, that's always free, but something that's like life-changing like that, you list it for hire, or but whatever, you set the price, and then it's just like extra side money, like a small percentage of it would go to me, but it would be like a marketplace where like things that you know would be useful, like listing them, and then you can like look at other people's documents, like what they have. And we're EAs, so we share stuff. Like everything I've ever done, I've always given away for free. But I thought it would be a good idea to test as like, anyway, that's all. I'm done. So stay tuned. Okay, bye guys.
I think it's a great idea.
Cool. All right, we'll try it. We'll test it out together. Have a great day. Happy admin month. It started. Yay. Go sign up for Imagine Admin, where it's going to be 3 days of speakers. I probably should have plugged this before. I'll put it on my LinkedIn, but it's going to be 3 days of speakers. Let me just get the link. It's free. 35 different speakers, and each person's going to give like a 5-minute talk. And I got picked to give a talk, which is crazy because that's just crazy, but somehow I did. So it'll be neat. And Imagine Admin Beacon. That's right. So the Beacon Institute for Administrative Excellence. That's who's putting this on. It's going to be 3 days of webinars. You sign up, it's free. Let me get you the link if anyone's even on here. Watch I get back to Zoom and everyone hung up. But
Yep,
you
I'm
know,
still here.
I signed up for that. So how are they doing it? It looks like it's they said that they're kind of gonna try to do like watch parties or something like that. Like
Yeah, I saw that. I'm trying to get the
recording.
link. I can't even find the link right now. Where is it? Imagine. First of all, I hate Bing. Like my computer makes me use Bing. Let me go to Google. Hold on. The speaker lineup is really cool. Like Maggie's going to be speaking. I know we
Cory,
all.
do you remember offhand which days?
No, I can tell you, I do have that on my calendar. Here we go. Imagine Admin, a festival of ideas. I'll put the link in.
Okay.
It's 3 different days. I think it's like 2 Fridays, and but it's like speakers from all over the world.
Okay, so it's not like, for instance, like 3 days in a row or something like
No,
that.
it's not 3 consecutive.
Okay.
Here, I can check real quick.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, great. Terrific.
yeah, there it
Yeah.
is. So you do a free sign up, and like when they were doing a call for speakers, like you had to give your like this 1-minute pitch on what topic you wanted to talk about, and like looking at the speaker list and like what everyone's talking about, like it's just a huge variety of topics, and it's oh, here are the dates. So it's going to be Friday, April 11th, Thursday, April 17th, and Friday, April 25th. And there's just a different 2-hour window each day, where it's just going to be back-to-back speakers. So I've been practicing like relentlessly and I have my boyfriend like count how many times I say, which I just said it again. I'm really trying, you guys. I try so hard. He's, well, when you're talking about things you know about, you never say, so.
And can I just say something to that? You know, I appreciate absolutely, because I've been at Toastmasters meetings, you know, a number of years ago, right? And I appreciate all that. However, one of the all-time best speakers I've ever heard, and it was a C-suite executive, all right, speaking to our Toastmasters group when we were at Chubb, right? When I tell you, there's the when I tell you that the ums and the sighs and the whatever, back and forth, okay. However, he was such a dynamic speaker, and when I tell you he could completely come off script and then go back on, right? You know, so he was joking with our grammarian, right? You know, oh, you know, you're putting this down on me, you know, whatever, you know, how are you rating me right now? You know, but when I tell you that I've never heard such a dynamic speaker and engaging, funny, you know, the whole 9 yards, right? And you say, you know what? Doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a good draw. You know, I only say to myself, you know, you can't let those ums and ahs completely stop you from speaking too. So
yeah,
you have to
that's true. Thanks.
you know,
That takes a little pressure off. Thank you.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, so nice meeting you, Leanne, and everyone,
same
great
here.
to see you. Have a great day, and I will see you next week.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
guys. Bye.